How do you build apps faster? There's really only two ways. You A, throw more resources at it, or B, make it simpler. Second is obviously cheaper. However, if you do them both together, you come up with something amazingly quick. What resources can you use to speed up your development? If you are going down the no-code route, which I actually do recommend if you're short-staffed and have a low budget, especially for validating ideas, you can use Flutterflow, which is great. Flutter is a great language for app development and basically lets you build components and also get the code after, which means, yes, you use it initially to build something, but you're not limited or restricted to it. It also plugs into Firebase, which is like a backend provider. So it doesn't actually stop you from doing anything with it afterwards. It helps you boilerplate and build, but you're not limited to it, which is really important if you want to grow this later on so you can get your devs to make things more specific. I wouldn't recommend Bubble. I tried using it recently and it's just not pleasant. Adalo and DraftBit are also pretty big contenders. They seem to be the ones that people talk about the most. DraftBit is a little bit more technical, so if you've got a bit of a coding experience, it might be more useful, but they're kind of around the same. If you're building websites, use Framer. Framer is excellent because it's a no-code tool that actually builds websites, but it also has a template market, which means people that are far more advanced than you can basically do the design. So the way I describe no-code tools is it lets you do with no experience, or it takes someone maybe like 3 years to learn and understand. But getting past that, it doesn't really help. And honestly, the competition is quite high. So Framer having a template market is great because it bridges the gap between. You can work on something like you have 3 years worth of experience, and someone with 10 years worth of experience will build an entire design for you that's up to scratch, and you can just edit it. So everyone's life's easier. Number 2, coding templates and pre-built libraries. Now, if you're not going down the no-code route and you want something more specific, coding libraries is a way to speed things up. If you don't have technical experience, it's difficult to know what is and isn't useful, but you can still do the research yourself to make negotiations. Code is easier, or just put them on, because not all coders look for libraries. The way to do this is wherever you're coding, you find out what language that's done in. If it's iOS, you can at Swift. If it's Android, you're looking at Java, or maybe it's cross-platform. Flutter is a cross-platform language. And what you can do is you can type in the language, you type in the feature you want, and then you type in library, hit enter. So for example, let's say you want a chat system in your app, you would put Flutter chat or messaging library. Look at the results. People normally pre-build in package code, and the open source community is so locked for developers, it's free. How crazy is that? There are also some sites that are paid for, but normally that's when the design is a little bit more extravagant. So you can just buy these templates and then get a developer to build on top of it, so everything moves faster. It's also cheaper. Check the Flutter Shop library. That's really cool. You might see these templates and think, wow, they're so cheap. That's because they build it once and then sell it multiple times. So you buying it doesn't stop it being used. It doesn't actually eat into that time. So works for everyone. They get to build something once and sell it basically forever, and you get to pick up something cheap. So take advantage. Option number 3, you use an army of devs. This is definitely the most expensive, but it is the most bespoke, and it kind of doesn't just rely on you, which can be nice, especially if you don't have technical experience. You have Upwork, you have Fiverr, there's plenty of places online you can find devs. These are the ones I'm going to speak on because that's where I personally got devs from. Fiverr is more single project related, so this is really good if you just want a landing page, or even if you want a no-code app built to a certain extent, like they'll have a list of features that they can do or a number of pages. It's nice because you get a flat rate price. It's like working with an agency where it's all packaged into one. You don't have to micromanage and tell them what to do. You give them the brief and they come back and work. The quality is not always going to be fantastic, and I think for bigger projects, you also don't want to just let them handle everything. For example, if it's like a 6-page app, are you confident that they understand exactly what you're doing so that they can build it all on their own? Or do you want a more iterative process, which isn't really what Fiverr is? Great for a landing page though. You want to design that converts users onto your app, go for Fiverr. Oh, also, pro tip, if you're using a no-code tool, search for that specific tool, because generally it's priced a little bit cheaper because they know they're not coding themselves. Upwork, however, is for renting devs hourly. So when I had my startups, and even now if I need something done very quickly and someone's let me down, Upwork's normally the way to go. You can see an hourly rate for what it is people are charging. You can interview them, and then if you're happy with them, you can also do trial runs. I always suggest doing a trial run first. You can negotiate the pay down a little bit, say, can we get X hours for a decreased price just to test that we're good for each other. Might not work, but worth trying. Also, again, you can combine this with the templates and the no-code tool. So if you need something specific and you find a library, it's like, hey, I'd like this library integrated into my app. It's going to be a lot cheaper for them to price up for you. For the hours taken to do it. Okay, now that we know how we can speed things up by using basically pre-existing coding tools or other people's experience, how do we lessen the requirements for getting what we need to get from that? An easy way to organize this is the Moscow principle, which is pretty commonly used in tech. It categorizes your tickets or to-do list into 4 separate elements, which is must have, M, should have, S, could have, C, or won't have, W. I would suggest organizing this by impact and speed. Organizing by impact, like you're obviously building it out for a reason. What is the core function of your app? What is the value driver, the one thing that gets it across? Make it as simple as possible and organize all your features in that spectrum. So obviously your settings, likely it's not very high impact, and give the user the value that you want them to have. If you have an app for finding hot new roller skates, how do people find it? What's the discovery mechanism? Is it shares, recommendations, because people share it, or is it a search function? Do they do it on their own? And that's kind of an important distinction. It's understanding which is the core value driver. Is this something that's used multiple people together, or is it a singular person? So again, highest impact. Then once you have the highest impact, you organize by fastest to implement. If you're not technical, this may not be obvious, so it really could be worth speaking to someone technical for this. But for example, like if you're making the roller skate discovery app, a search function is going to be easier than a sharing function because you need all the user accounts and everyone accessing and adding content. The search function from the jump, it's like you already have the products and someone just finds them. You could probably see where this is going, but high impact, quick to implement goes in the must have. You start with those. Should have is high impact, slower to implement. Could have is low impact, quick to implement. And then whatever's left over, I would say just don't bother right for now. The way I'd probably suggest working this as well is you actually start with the must have and then you keep building. And each time you get a new feature, you really think about it and think, hey, could someone use this right now? It might not be great, it might not be ready, but you could actually start collecting user feedback. You could do limited rollouts, you could do, alpha testing. So people just have like the main feature, or what do you think of this? And bit by bit, you build it and slowly release it to people so you can get feedback and improve. But that's probably the fastest way to develop, because you could release 2 features and find out people are having a great time anyway, and you just start working on those features more and fleshing them out. You don't know, that's the point. So in conclusion, if you want to make apps faster, you use tools and templates pre-existing code to speed things up, or you hire people's time. And you can make things faster by decreasing the barrier to entry and really minimizing what you need to get out there. I advise doing both to the highest degree that you can do. If you want to know how to build an app or more information on prioritizing, that's going to be a different topic. And I'll probably have a video somewhere, but that's how you make things